So here we are. I'm going to start in a couple of minutes. But yeah, since this is my first time, I'm just looking to see if everything's working all right. Hopefully. Alrighty. Okay. So here we are. So, for those of you who are already here, welcome. For those of you who still have to arrive, welcome. No, that doesn't work. Okay. So here we are. So we're gonna start with a mindful restorative class here. Yeah, it's my first time here, Facebook live streaming, so I'm still kind of getting things going for myself here. So I've posted a couple of minutes ago. I hope everybody had the time to read that. You're gonna need like as much as you can find of props, blankets, pillows, beach towels. If you have a bolster, fine, perfect. Maybe blocks, even if you have blocks. You're certainly going to need a mat, and if possible, if you have two mats, um, have two mats. You know, that's even better. So if you have two mats, stack them one on top of the other because they're going to be much more comfortable because we're going to spend a lot of time in long postures, lying or sitting. And it's nice to have a little thickness. I have a really thick mat here, so, okay. And if you have an extra blanket, if you're sure that you have enough blankets, you can take a blanket and fold it, oops, and place it on top of your mat. It's going to give you, again, a little extra comfort, a little extra something. Got a whole bunch of blankets here. It's always nice to have them. So I have a meditation cushion here. I think it's good to start the class with a few moments to arrive. So, set yourself up. I've got a chair here. It's possibly going to be quite useful, the chair here. So if you have a chair at home, if you have something like that, place it here somewhere close by because one of the poses we're going to do, it might be good to have a chair. Don't need it, but it's useful sometimes. So I think it's good to start just a moment by sitting, by really literally sitting down here and taking a few moments to arrive. We're here, but it's 7 o'clock. I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've had a whole day. It's good to take some time to relax here, to literally arrive here. So let's start by just closing your eyes for a second, taking like just a moment to be here, to arrive. Take the time now to let your body make contact. Make contact with the mat. So if you're sitting on the mat, you might be sitting on your knees, you might be sitting cross-legged. Basically, it's not that important how you're sitting so much as that you're sitting and that it's comfortable. That's quite important. So just that you're sitting, that it's comfortable, that you're relaxed, that you don't need more than anything here. Take some time to let the body arrive here. So you have your feet, your legs touching the floor, touching the mat, touching the blanket. Feel that. Notice that. Let the legs and the feet land onto the mats. Take a moment to notice the contact of your pelvis, your buttocks, with whatever it is that it's sitting on. It might be a pillow, it might be a bolster, it might be a stack of blankets, something, just so that the pelvis is higher than the knees. It's much more comfortable to sit on for a few minutes. Notice the contact of your buttocks, of your sit bones with bolster, pillow, cushion, and allow that to sink into it. So feel the heaviness of your legs, of your pelvis sinking into its support. And taking some time to also lengthening the upper body, the spine. Certainly at this time of day, after a whole day, the spine tends to sag a little bit. So just while you're sitting here, imagine that there's a hot air balloon and it's attached to the top of your skull. It's nice, real big hot air balloon. And by its simple presence, by its lift, it is gently pulling your head, your neck, your spine, vertebra by vertebra, gently pulling it up towards the ceiling. And at the same time, the pelvis, the legs are heavy. So just sitting here, feeling yourself being just simply here. So why a restorative class? Most of us, we've been affected by the lockdown, virus. Lots of things are happening. Maybe you're working, maybe you're not working. Maybe you're confined home. Maybe somebody in your family, somebody you know is sick. Maybe you're worried about, okay, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to people around me? What's going to happen to my family? What's going to happen to my job, my company? It's, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, it's a pretty big deal what's happening here. And both our body and our mind, our whole system reacts to that. It's a natural thing. It reacts. And the usual way of dealing with uncertainty, anger, fear, Usually what we do is we try and ignore it. We try to change the subject. Yeah. We watch TV, read books, Netflix, spend our day on Facebook and Instagram. We go do some sports. I've never seen as many people jogging as in the last 3 weeks. It's crazy, but it's good. It's healthy. So we deal with it usually by pulling our attention away from the uncertainty, the lack of control. But sometimes that doesn't work. Consciously or unconsciously, inside us, it's there. There might be some tension, there might be some discomfort. We might have difficulty sleeping, falling asleep, staying asleep. We maybe are a little shorter. Uh, Tempers can flare a little more easily, maybe, especially if you have kids around and it's difficult to keep some sense of calm around you. And so that's where this class comes in. We're going to take a number of poses, of postures, and we're going to stay in these poses and these postures for a while, for a long while. And the intention of staying in poses for a longer time with everything you have here, every prop you have, your blankets, pillows, cushions, mats, bolsters, blankets, beach towels, is that in each pose, you need to have every part of the body supported so that the body can feel, I can let go, I can relax. So that's where we're going to go for this class. But first, maybe for a few minutes, we're going to do some, I wouldn't call it warming up, but getting ready to come into this slowing down mood. So see if your sitting posture is still comfortable. Maybe you want to change the posture. Maybe you want to sit cross-legged. If you were cross-legged, change sides or come to sit on your knees. Be here for a few minutes. Not that long, but a few minutes. So make it as comfortable as possible for your lower body. See if you can keep that length in the upper body. And bring your hands just to your lower belly. Now, one hand is on my lower belly below the navel. The other hand is touching the back of the hand, which is in contact with the belly. Some length in the spine. Remember that hot air balloon. Some relaxing in the legs and in the pelvis. And just start noticing the body breathing, noticing some movement in the belly. With each in-breath, the belly pushing forwards. With each out-breath, the belly relaxing, loosening. Right now, we're not doing anything with the breath. We're just observing it. It's just the contact of the hands helping our awareness be centered on the lower belly. See if you can loosen the shoulders as much as possible. And so starting to activate the breathing, with each in-breath, we're going to push the belly into our hands. And with each out-breath, just sucking the belly back in. Breathing in, pushing the belly forward. Breathing out, just gently sucking the belly back into its cavity. Basically, we're just activating the in-breath. It's not an intense, tight breathing. It's just long. And you can loosen your hands and place them on your flanks. So the hands are just below the lowest ribs, just above the hip bones, the pelvic bone. So just as we were breathing into the lower belly, you can breathe into the flanks. So with each in-breath, you feel the flanks opening up laterally towards the left, the right. With each out-breath, you feel the flanks just coming back inside. And so activating that with each in-breath, see if you can push the flanks outwards just a little more. Breathing out, gently coming back in, sucking back in. And with some luck, you're even feeling the back, the lower back, having some movement with each in-breath, your two thumbs being pushed towards the back wall. Breathing out, feeling the relaxing, coming back, the loosening. Sometimes we forget that when we're breathing, it's not only pushing towards the front, it's also happening on the sides and on the back. So next I invite you to bring your hands just below your armpits, net under your oxals. So that means that 8 fingers, the palms of the hands are in contact with the side ribs, 2 thumbs pointing back towards the spine. And just as we were bringing our attention to the belly, now bringing attention to the chest, to the rib cage. Feeling the ribs expanding with each in-breath. The ribs, the muscles in between the ribs relaxing with each out-breath. At the back of the mind still remembering, lengthening in the neck, in the spine, a heavy pelvis. So the next few breaths, I'm going to activate the breathing in the side ribs and in the chest. So what we're going to do is with each in-breath, you're going to actively expand your chest laterally sideways, and at the same time, you're going to push your hands towards one another. So breathing in, opening the side ribs and pushing against it. Breathing out, relaxing. Breathing in, pushing without trying to break your ribs. Breathing out, relaxing. A couple of more times, 3, 4 times, breathing in. Actively resisting. Breathing out, relaxing. One last time, breathing in. And breathing out. You can gently place your hands back onto your knees or thighs. Just rolling your shoulders a little bit. Gently moving your head, your neck. Then taking a nice long in-breath and just lengthening the arms upwards. And on the out-breath, gently plunging downwards. Your hands coming onto the floor in front of you. Arms lowering onto the front of the floor. Letting your head, your neck hang forwards. But we're not going for a stretch here, certainly not for a deep stretch. It's more for a few moments, allowing the spine, the back, the shoulders, the neck, the throat to relax a little. On the next in-breath, using your hands, your arms to push your upper body back up. Lower back, middle back, chest, shoulders, neck and throat, and the head coming back up as last. Seeing myself on the screen, I look like I have a really red face. Possibly that's true. Okay then. So we're going to go for a first pose. So during this class, you're going to use one side of the mat as the top side. That's where the head is going to be. One side of the mat is the bottom side. That's where your feet are going to be going. And our first pose, you're going to need something quite high. So maybe you have a couple of blankets or a stack of blankets which you can use. If you don't, maybe you have a number of pillows. 1 pillow, 2 pillows, 3 pillows. I'm using here like 3 pillows. Doesn't look very stable, but it's going to be okay. You're going to need either another blanket or another pillow. And first we're going to come to sit in front of this stack here. Maybe bring your knees just to the sides of it. You're going to take a pillow or a blanket. If you use a blanket, roll it up and bring it just to the back of your knees. You'll notice that it's going to be a lot more comfortable. So we're going to start here by placing our hands on top of, maybe it's a bolster. If you have a bolster, fine. Placing your hands on top of this stack here and gently lowering yourself onto this support, onto this stack of whatever it is. Basically, we're coming into a supported child's pose, Supta Balasana. Now, the way I am lying here, I have no idea how you're lying down there. I don't see anybody. Pretty weird. The way I'm lying here, my belly is supported, maybe on my thighs or on the pillow. My chest is resting on this upper pillow. My side of my neck, my head is comfortably resting. At the same time, both arms are resting on something, so my elbows are not hanging in the air. The lower arms are quite comfortably resting. So what are we doing here? Well, basically what we're doing is, and that's quite specific to restorative yoga, what we're doing here is giving the body, and through the superficial body, giving our nervous system as many signals as we can that it doesn't need to be tightened, that it can relax, that it can allow itself to be supported. That's why so many blankets and pillows and cushions and mats and stuff. And just allowing every part of the body to really feel that support, to really physically be aware, okay, yes, arms, you can relax, you don't need to push. Shoulders, yeah, you can relax shoulders, shoulder blades, hips. Hopefully there's sufficient support so that you too can let go. Throat, neck, head. It's a deliberately slow practice. We have more than enough experience in pushing, in accelerating, in go, go, go. Well, we have a lot of experience in that. Maybe just not that much experience in consciously letting go and let ourselves be supported. If you have your head turned on one side, it's maybe not a bad idea to change sides. Next few minutes. You'll notice if you change sides, if you turn your head from one side to the other, you'll notice that possibly, well, the body isn't completely symmetrical. One side of the neck is tighter than the other, maybe. One shoulder is relaxed, the other shoulder is more difficult. So that's why we have all these props and blankets. So notice if your elbows need some extra support, your hands, maybe the floor is kind of cold and you want to put something under there so that where your hands are resting, they're comfortably resting on something a little warm, or at least not cold. Allowing the body to breathe and allowing that breath to travel throughout the body. So as the front of the upper body is limited in its movement, bringing the in-breath towards the back body. With each in-breath, letting the back ribs expand, the lower back, letting the tailbone drop down. So after a number of minutes in this pose, maybe some parts of the body are starting to not be as comfortable. Maybe your ankles or your knees, inner thighs, maybe your neck or your shoulders. Maybe just moving a little bit, rolling, And then to come out of the pose, the coming out of the pose is as much a part of the practice as the being in the pose. So putting your hands onto the mat just below your shoulders and using your hands to push your upper body back up towards sitting. The head is always the last part to come back up. So if your neck is slightly tight, maybe just giving some little massage. So, the next pose, and the transition from one pose to another is as relaxed, as slow. This whole practice is signaling to our body, to our nervous system, to our heart, to our belly, to our head, that, oh yeah, slowing down. Oh yeah, that exists. Oh, right, yeah. Oh, I forgot. Because we forget. Because we're busy. So this next pose, you're going to need, if you have a bolster and a couple of blocks, which I obviously don't, take your bolster, have 2 blocks underneath that at the top of the mat. If you don't, you can take a number of blankets or maybe 1 or 2 more pillows. See that you have an incline, like a nice diagonal. I have these nice, really big pillows here, and they're going to come in quite handy for me. Sorry. So what are we going to be doing here is we're going to come into a Supta Bandha Konasana, a supported bound angle pose. So I'm going to have 2 blankets here by my side, by what's going to be my sides. I'm going to come here and I'm going to have my tailbone just touching the bottom of that pillow or bolster if you have the luck to have a bolster. You're going to bring these 2 pillows, or if you have an extra bolster, you put a bolster beneath your knees, bringing the soles of your feet together and gently coming down. Yummy, yummy. So, this is obviously not enough for me. I need a lot of more support for my neck. So this is not yin practice. You see my arms are resting, my elbows are resting. And since my arms and my elbows are resting, the weight of my arms isn't pulling on my pecs, on my pectoral muscles, on the front of my shoulder, so that the arms can comfortably lie here and that the chest can relax, doesn't need to be tight. I have enough support here for my knees so that the inner thighs are completely relaxed. And that's what I was saying. This is not yin. Yin is also a slow practice. In yin, what you do is you come into a pose and you go into that pose so far that you reach an edge, the edge of, okay, this is uncomfortable. It's not painful though, it's uncomfortable. And by the discomfort, instinctively the body tightens. And we stay in a pose, in yin, we stay in a pose for a couple of minutes with the intention of letting the instinctive tightening relax into the intensity. so that it can be intense without having to be tight. So that's one of the basic principles of yin. In restorative, we don't go that far, like at all. When you find your edge, if you find your edge in this pose, stay like 20-30% underneath that edge. What we're doing here, where we're going here, is we're quite deliberately, very kindly, in a very friendly way, giving a very clear signal to the body, to the mind, to the nervous system. Oh, okay, you've done your job. You don't need to tighten protectively around this muscle, around this capsule, around these bones. You don't need to protect. You can let go. So we're going to be here in this as supported as possible pose. Going to be here a good number of minutes, which is why also it's important to have more than enough support for your head. The head is hanging too much back, the throat instinctively and naturally tightens to protect the cervical vertebrae, to support, to protect your neck. So what happens when the throat is tightening? The jaw muscles are tightening. What happens when the throat is tightening? The clavicles, the pectorals are tightening, the shoulders are tightening. And here we're trying to care for our body, for our mind, for our heart. We're just giving it so much comfort. A good measure of this comfort is to notice how easy it is to relax your jaw, allowing the lips to open, allowing the mouth to be slightly open. Nobody's looking at you. And notice how much extra comfort it is to have the mouth hanging gently open. Allowing the weight of the body to rest. Giving it over to the support of the ground, the mat, pillows, bolsters, cushions, blankets, gravity. Just letting gravity do its thing. And slowly, slowly, over the last few minutes, the body is maybe starting to let go superficially. And slowly, you can scan your mind through your body, just noticing where there's room, where there's space for maybe, even if it's 1% or 5% extra. Letting go might be the inner thighs. It's a very vulnerable part of the body. The reproductive organs are there. So obviously that's one part of the body where protection, tightening, is a very natural process. And trying to force it open is like telling your body, okay, now you have to relax. Doesn't work. Allowing. Yeah, I'm looking at my phone. Sorry. So, to come out of the pose, okay, first things is bringing the legs together, bringing the knees together. And the best way of doing that is without using your thigh muscles. So you bring your hands to the outside of your thighs and just using your arms to push the knees together and walking your feet back towards your tailbone, your pelvis. If there's a bolster, you can roll it down towards the bottom of the mat. If you have pillows, just placing them away. Bringing your right elbow onto whatever it can get into and just gently rolling onto your right side and coming to lie down here for a few moments on this incline. Feeling a different sense of support, side support. Nice. If I had a blanket, I'd just fall asleep here. But I'm not going to do that. So just using your left hand, your right elbow to roll to the front and push your upper body up to a seated position. Slowly. No hurry. So we're already coming to our last pose. So this last pose is a variation on Shavasana. So a number of options. For those of you who have a chair here in the neighborhood, you can take that chair and place it to the front of the mat where your legs are or will be when you're lying down. If you don't have a chair, don't go outside and get one. Take as many pillows, cushions as you can spare. Make a nice little heap, something really nice and high. That's nice and high. And take if you have one or even two left, take a number of pillows or cushions or a stack of blankets. Have something high enough so that when we lie down, the head is really supported. I'm going to take two blankets if you have them. I have a bunch of blankets here. But then I'm a yoga teacher. And I'm going to place them here. The intention is that I can have my arms resting on those blankets. And I have an extra blanket here. And this one is pretty important. I want you to have at least one blanket that you can use to cover your body when you're lying down. So if you have a chair, you use the chair. If you have this stack of whatever, just place your legs on top of it. When you lower down, take it easy. Like really relax. Take it easy. You lower down nice and slow. And you have this blanket. Coming back up. The point of the blanket is that you mummify yourself. You want to make a nice mummy, just like when you go to bed. You're nicely into your blanket. Lovely. You lie down. Your head, your neck need to be supported, like really supported, so that there's no zero tightness in the throat. So make it as high as you want it or as you need it. I really need it to be high. That's the way my body is, so that's what I do. I have support under my shoulder blades. The back of my shoulders are supported. And that makes a really big difference. So when the back of my shoulders is supported, the chest doesn't need to tighten. I have support for my elbows, lower arms, the backs of my hands. If you happen to have blocks in the neighborhood without having to get up, you can place the blocks in the palm of your hands. Sometimes it gives an extra sense of support, weight. And you're just lying here. So if you're using a chair and the chair is too high, which means that your tailbone is maybe hanging in the air and not in contact with the mat. So either if you have some blanket or pillow that you can place under your tailbone, otherwise it's just best to not use the chair to rest your legs on. Because when the pelvis is not supported, there's tightening in the thighs, tightening the front of the pelvis and the groins. Allowing the body to just be. Letting go. Accepting the support. Feet ankles, the calves, the lower legs, just resting. Thighs, big, strong muscles in the thighs do a lot of work. And here we're just giving them this gift. The buttocks, the hips, front of the pelvis, just hanging in the mat rather than on the mat. The belly hanging down, as if with each out-breath, the navel, the skin of the belly is attracted towards the spine. Allowing the flanks, the side ribs, the muscles in between the ribs, allowing those to just soften. Even allowing the bones in the ribs to just become that little bit rounder, that little bit more elastic. Allowing the pectoral muscles to slide, to melt towards the armpits, towards the floor. The clavicles, sleutelbeenderen, to relax, to just unwind. The weight of the arms, as if sinking into the mat, the blankets, the floor. The throat, the sides of the neck, the back of the neck. The weight of the head sinking. It weighs about 5-6 kilos. Maybe a little more if you have more hair. Allowing the muscles of the face to melt along the bone structure. Forehead, eyebrows, eyes, nostrils, cheeks, jaws, lips, the back of the tongue, In as much as there's some stillness around you, just allowing this stillness, this relative silence to seep into your skin. Gravity, it's there. Allow it to do its work. Arriving at the end of this pose, deliberately taking 3 fuller, longer, deeper, somewhat more active breaths, breathing in, breathing in. Last. Feeling into the body, bringing some gentle movement into the fingers, the toes. Resist the temptation to move out quickly unless you're in a hurry and you have to be somewhere at 8. Gentle movement, gentle. Rolling your arms, your legs. Gently rolling your head from left to right. Maybe stretching out a little bit. Bringing your knees towards your chest. Unwinding the blanket. If you're on a chair or you have cushions or pillows, just getting off of them with as little effort as possible. Rolling onto your right side again. Maybe use a pillow or something in between your knees. Just seconds, just a few moments. Why not make it comfortable these few moments? And then using your right elbow, your left hand, rolling forward and gently, slowly pushing yourself up to seated, to sitting. Find something to sit on. Where's my stuff here? Just so that you can sit with your pelvis higher than your knees. Maybe you want to have a blanket. Just have it be as yummy as possible. Just sit here, just sitting here for a few seconds, taking stock, noticing, okay, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling physically? How's the mind doing? How's the heart doing? Just bringing both hands together, palms of the hands together, two thumbs gently in contact with your chest at the level of the heart, feeling the movement in the chest, maybe even feeling your heart beating beneath your thumbs. Just taking these few seconds to thank yourself for taking the time here, taking this class, thanking whatever circumstances in your life gave you the possibility to be here for an hour. Hope you have a pleasant evening and a good night's sleep. Good night. See you next time. Namaste. Good night.